welcome back to the Rise interview with me, Christian Ogodo. We're still live in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, and thanks for staying with us. We're in uncharted waters. A crisis unlike anything ever before has engulfed the global economy and upended the entire industries and business models. Many companies are fighting for their survival and still trying to adjust to an abruptly transformed business environment. To rethink leadership is in the offing, pulling together visionaries, creatives, and persons with the capacity to transform and lead effectively in a new era. If this pandemic experience has taught us anything, it is that leadership is sacrosanct for any country facing decidedly fragile futures. Here in Nigeria, a national leadership dialogue series has been designed to deeply impact, drive ideas, and provide solutions on matters of citizenship and nationhood.
Enormous damage done to the Federal Republic of Nigeria over the years by poor leadership without relevant capacity has become incalculable. In fact, the very fabric of our society has been deeply shaken, and it could become worse if urgent actions like this initiative are not taken. Hence, the wisdom and need for such fundamental intervention aimed at refocusing leadership in Nigeria and identifying the strategies for developing high-quality leaders on a sustainable basis. The history of humanity has shown that wherever the leadership question is unresolved, the challenges of human progress will also remain a continuing challenge. Leadership is the key to development and nation building. Good leadership opens a variety of great and powerful doors. But leaders do not just emerge automatically. Leaders are raised through deliberate education, mentoring, training, and discipline.
Well, for more on this, let's turn to Dr. Ike Neliaku, a member of the Governing Board and Executive Secretary, Nigerian Prize for Leadership. Thanks so very much for joining us.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Is it the new normal that has informed rethinking leadership in Nigeria with vision, creativity, capacity of a transformer? The COVID-19 must be, getting people out of the box now then.
Yeah, well, I think it's taking two things together. This concept was designed before COVID. So if you like, you could say that we saw tomorrow.
This like is Nostradamus.
Maybe somebody else, not him. Sometime in November last year, we set up a team to design major criteria that will be used to benchmark leadership in Nigeria, but according to global standards. And quite interestingly, the first on what they submitted is that vision is critical to leadership. Creativity is critical to leadership. And the third component they talked about is innovation. That's number one. That for leadership to be properly determined by the leader, or for the leader, or of the leader, that these three elements are key. And you look at it, today we are talking about COVID. You know, one interesting thing that has happened is that people have defined themselves, whether they are creative leaders or they are just leaders marking time and following 24 hours. After 24 hours gone, a new day comes, you manage through, you wobble through. And that cannot be leadership. COVID has separated leaders that have vision, that are creative, that are innovative, that are transformers, and leaders who are just there marking time and following things as they develop. Sometimes you call them leaders that are on autopilot.
How would you then assess leadership in Nigeria in the last 60 years? Because when I look at the names of the governing board of the Nigerian Leadership Prize, it's the same people we've been hearing prior to independence or after independence and up until the 21st century. What new ingenuity are they bringing to bear on leadership in Nigeria? There is a crisis.
Yes, but you see, you seem to be looking at it from one angle. Let's look at it from the other angle. Everybody on this board has paid a price for this nation. Their love for this nation is not in doubt. And check wherever they have worked, things they have done in their different capacities. Is it the chairman of the board, Professor Anya, who distinguished himself in the private sector, in the academic, and still stands very tall? Is it Dr. Christopher Collade, who not only was regarded as one of the best in boardroom management, he's retired, but he's still serving till today? Is it Professor Ghana?
Because we don't have, the young, creative, sagacious youths of Nigerians to fill the gaps.
That's what they are doing. These people must be commended because the philosophy is very simple. We have served Nigeria. We have experiences about this country that we are carrying. If we don't yield these experiences and use it to build a replacement generation, a successor generation, deliberately, it's not as if these things have not been going on, but they now want to do, or we want to do, a deliberate kind of thing so that we can begin to groom younger people who are not carrying what these ones carried. Even the experience alone, that things they went through, difficulties they faced, challenges they resolved, problems they solved, they want to quietly and nicely deploy these things to the younger generation and make sure that this matter of leadership becomes a very serious issue that we take center stage. One of the things we have observed, whenever we talk about leadership in Nigeria, the thinking, the mindset goes towards political. But it is not. It is not. If this organization is not run well, it's a business. It talks about the economy of a people. People's livelihood rotate around what goes on here. So you see that leadership is everywhere. You have leadership in culture, leadership in education, leadership across board. We want to bring this out and make it a matter that is on the front burner of the nation. Those who are in politics, yes, we have experiences to share. Those who are in business, we have experiences to share. Those who are even in religious matters, we have experiences to share.
Sorry to cut in here. Can we, in Nigeria, it's been said that leadership is the bane of our underdevelopment, is the bane of corruption, is the bane of a lot of maladies. But some people will not agree. They want to add the followers, that followership is. From your own perspective as the executive secretary of this board, what are those things that you've aggregated or you are going to aggregate to make leadership, a cynosure for development?
Okay. Number one, there is always this, again, misconception that if you don't fix the followers, leaders will not be able to function. And I say, I disagree, based on research. Even among followers, they have leaders. Followers don't just organize themselves. They have leaders. But what normally happens is that when a leader, the global leader, as the case may be in this context, does not mobilize the followers, the tendencies that the followers will do what they want. Straight. I'll give you an example. We were told that everybody must wear mask. Leadership direction. Some people are not wearing masks. Followership action. What did you do to help those people who are not wearing masks to wear masks? Leadership responsibility. If you had said, okay, I understand that a lot has been lost to COVID by the economy of ordinary people who have not gone to work for some time, and you say, okay, I will donate or I will give so and so number of masks to people, you have taken responsibility. If tomorrow they fail to wear the masks that you gave to them, what do? You go to the next step. So I want to believe that it is not in isolation. When John Maxwell says that everything rises and falls on leadership, I say everything and everywhere has the element of leadership. You find it everywhere, even among the followers. Look at a place, Nigeria. I can tell you this. Nigerians are not very difficult people. What Nigerians want is to see a strong leadership. And I'll give you another example. In 1999, when we just moved into civil democracy, when the president was sworn in, everybody was afraid that things were not going to be the same, situations would change, things will be tough, this man with the experience and so on. So Nigerians were organizing themselves to follow suit. And you know, there is always the 6 months phenomena of every leader. Nigerians give you 6 months. If within 6 months you have not performed, they turn against you.
And they write you off. Okay, Dr. Ike, you're still going to, Ike, sorry. You're
no,
still,
it's fine.
Ike, yeah,
it's
you're
okay.
still going to, continue on that line of thought. We just want to take some commercial messages, and when we return, we'll continue interrogating the Arise interview. You're watching the Arise interview. We've still got more still ahead. Stay with us. You're welcome back to the Arise interview with me, Christian Ogodo, the last lap of the Arise interview, and I still have Dr. Ike Neliaku. He's the Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Prize for Leadership. Let me ask you, before we start looking at why the Prize for Leadership, why do you want to, pay or reward anybody for that? It's something that is supposed to come naturally. And my question is, how can we curb bad leadership from the roots in Nigeria? It's been said to be the bane.
Yeah. Well, I think it's beyond bane, actually, if there is any word lower than that. It's a serious challenge. Okay, let's look at it this way. Those you called followers and those we call leaders. Let's see where they meet. The follower, in this context, has expectations. The leader has responsibilities. When expectation does not meet responsibility, there is a gap. And that brings us to the issue of trust. The perception, if I have to use that word, in Nigeria today is that if you want to make money, if you want to be rich, go into government.
Politics and the civil
Precisely.
service. That's all.
Especially politics, because it's like it comes and it goes. And they will tell you that they have tenure. So corruption in this case has a tenure. Secondly, they will tell you that it's like an Olympic that plays every 4 years. This is the mindset. The man you are looking at the grassroots watches these things happen. He begins to desire to get into such a ball game. Whatever comes. If he doesn't get in, he waits for you. After another 4 years, he tells you what you have to give him. He collects it. Now, could you imagine if we have a rethink, a representation of what leadership should mean to the man at the lower rung of the society? You are building a mindset that can over time become the culture. We have a culture that is very bad, very terrible, but cultures are always changed. Cultures, like life, live. So if we begin to take conscious effort in our little palaces, we can begin to develop a new culture. And that is what we are trying to do. That's what we are emphasizing. Let's go down to the grassroots and look at these things.
I can see from your letter that you've drawn from various spheres of life, the Nigerian life, for this project. Very laudable. Covid-19, I think we still have to say kudos to it, because it's really making the world rethink how to do businesses and the rest. Your target really should be the youths. What kind of message are you sending to them? These are people who are battered left and right because of poor leadership, no job, and doing odd jobs and the rest. They feel dehumanized. They feel mentally and physically sapped. How are you going to, resuscitate such mentality?
I must say that the Nigerian youths are really a troubled generation by every standard. And if you look at their circumstance, you will not blame them for some of the things they get involved in. Quite frankly, no matter how wrong it is, it doesn't make it right, but it's not the best. When we discovered, at the point of setting focus and targets, we discovered that the critical mass of those we must impact are young people, because their challenges are so much, and if you don't groom them properly, then you have a nation that for another 50 years, you are in trouble. A man who was 10 by 1999, when we started democracy, is 31 today. He's taking responsibility. So if all that he has imbibed is negative, 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 that's what he gives to the society, number one. Number two, we designed two critical programs when we discovered that this will be the challenge. First, protege leadership program. We said we must make deliberate effort to bring out some of these people, attach them, first of all, bring them together, then attach them to whoever wins the prize each year. That 1 year, he's going to use it to bring up these ones. No rest for him, no rest for the young people that will be attached to him, and so on. But for you to now emerge as a protege that will be trained, we are taking you through a lower course that we go for about 6 weeks, and that is called Ambassador Program. You come in, we detox you with everything, and then begin to raise a new mold out of you based on consciousness of who you are, primarily a Nigerian. Not because you are from A area, B area, C area. No, 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 no. You are primarily a Nigerian. And you should think about your country. And then what are the things, what are the responsibilities you expect from your country? What are the responsibilities your country expect from you? We take them through this for 6 to 8 weeks. By the time they conclude, about the best 20 will now go to the next class. And that is the protege class that will now be attached to the winner of the prize for that 1 year. He will raise these ones, and by the time they come out, they will be sought after in this country.
Well, I mean, ordinarily, these protege, the youths, are supposed to have role models in the society, but the people who are supposed to be the role models have, turned everything, into ashes in their mouths. Let's look at the academic intelligentsia, for example. How much do you think they've helped in inculcating leadership qualities in the youth when every now and again they go on walk to rule, to strike? 1 year, 6 months, 9 months, and the rest? How do you develop the future leaders like that?
Well, let's look at the costs.
Very quickly,
and
because we don't have
Yeah.
enough time
Okay.
now.
Cause and effect.
Yeah.
Everything still boils down to leadership. The man who is the teacher may not even have what is required of him. You employed him as a teacher. Oh yeah. Based on what qualification? Then he gives to the students what he has. Nobody gives what he does not have. And then these students now pick it from there and they leave the campus. They discover that what they have learned cannot take them anywhere. They start afresh. Now, some of them who are lucky will get employed somewhere and then they start coming up. Some may not even at all. That's why in our system of education, we breed more of students that must pass exams than students who must handle issues and challenges. So I look at a scenario where it is a total overhaul. Our educational system is in I don't want to say tatters, but it has challenges. The man you're saying that he's going on strike and so on and so forth, what are the issues, really? What are the issues? If you look at some of the things they put on the front burner, there are things that are supposed to help them do their work. Things like research centers, things like research grants. These are standard things that we used to enjoy in those days. So there has to be a balancing. Yes, they have issues, but you have to reach them in a manner that they will understand.
Okay.
It's all in relationship and management.
I hope by the time you kick off the first series tomorrow,
yes,
the 30th or 29th of
yes,
May. Yeah.
Yes.
Tell us what's the prize for these, very quickly, because we're running out of time, for the Nigerian Leadership Prize. How much monetary value? Well,
I will leave that to the chairman of the prize. I will be going out of order because we were supposed to unveil the prize on the 18th.
You're unveiling it on
your
letter to us says, we should be partners.
Yes.
So we're partnering already.
No, we'll tell you as a partner outside the camera. The other people who are listening are not partners.
All right, Dr. Ike Neliaku,
but it's in millions.
Yes, Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Prize for Leadership. Thanks for coming, and really glad to host you for the maiden edition of that program tomorrow.
And you have a wonderful voice.
Thank you.
Well done.
Well, that's it for this edition of the Rise interview. Do join us again tomorrow. From me and the entire team here in Abuja, goodbye and thanks for watching.